So a person will calculate its heart's thought into a human behavior and act on that behavior. A calculated thought cognitively probably won't make a person act because a belief isn't formed then, because that's what the algorithm is. Spiritual daughter, spiritual son. Emotional truth in the heart of self. Realizing and understanding the new human experience, the emotional experience with someone else. And then the belief from that is immediately birthed. You see, the cognitive son, the cognitive belief to God and self, that is a son of the emotional truth of self, the daughter. Spiritually, that's how it works in spirit land, in that place you called heaven a long time ago, and probably still do. And probably already decided that you wanted to end up there when your living computer dies, your living body, containing that spirit, you see? It's the spirit that gives life to the lifeless soul. The soul is regenerative. It regenerates experience, okay? That's all it can do. Without the spirit and thought process and heart's thought process, the two, I don't know what the difference is, except for one's cognitive, one's emotional. The emotional belief is birth, and then we act. We calculate, immediate, formulate thought to make sure that emotional belief is brought out into the now. Whether that be a goal made and succeeded on in the positive light or negatively when we go into self-protection. Because it's the same goal making, except it's to do the opposite and have the reverse effect of spiritual life. Emotional life is spiritual life. Emotional death is spiritual death. Spiritual death comes in early childhood, in core belief making about self, in that, what I just told you, the algorithm. First, the emotional belief, the emotional knowing is birthed inside you. You feel it because your uniqueness attaches to the emotional, because it's meant for you, you see, to react to in that moment. Oh boy. The fear. When we do the opposite, we deaden the soul. We kill ourselves. We kill our uniqueness off. And we go robotic, pretending we don't have life in us, pretending we don't have emotional truth and purity form in us. But we do. But TV tells us, well, you should be afraid of that and ashamed of that. Turning self against self that way, because but the thing is, that attaches to the old early childhood core belief making, which is left unresolved in everyone in today's world. Unresolved separation causing duality in fucking everyone except for children, who has not yet formed the belief that they're completely on their fucking own. That's what we do. At about 6 years old, we say to ourselves, oh my God, I'm completely alone. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And then we sink into that sorrow, alone. Self-worth plummets because nobody cares about us. We need to go to mom or dad, but they're not available, because if they're both together, they're the ones producing what causes that, and that's the rejection model of parenting a child. The acknowledgement model of parenting a child takes a knowledgeable person, an educated person, in the most basic of educations. As children learn this, I teach them all the time. Their algorithms and what the true meaning of fucking possession is, and that the one that says all those things that make a child feel unworthy. It goes like this specifically, but it's usually felt and not thought cognitively. You understand? they reject me. After feeling rejected for 5 years, they reject me. They don't see meaning and purpose in my emotional structure as a little boy or girl. They don't find worth in it. Therefore, then, intellectual wisdom takes over. Therefore, then, I must be unworthy. That's the conclusion, the new belief, but you feel that emotionally. And that's when the child plummets and causes the duality. So now, guess who's savior to the emotional structure of the kid, of the child, each of us when we're kids, bringing that belief system into adulthood. The lie, the knowledge of the lie is influenced in us through our fearing and hurting and pain, because we can't be left there. We have to resolve it somehow. So guess who comes in to influence us? It is the evil spirit influence saying, look, as long as you tell them, they're going to keep hurting you. But if you lie about how you're feeling, then they can't hurt you. So the child thinks that in its heart, because it's influenced like that, and lies, comes back to its silent thought and says, yeah, a bonus score, my savior, the lie. No longer the savior of the truth, but savior the lie. And that's how the dualities form in the rejection model of being parented. Later, bitches. So beautiful young ladies. They're like thousands of them now. Instead of remaining that purity, so beautiful women. Even back in the old days, or their femininity, and that's what men fell in love with, enamored by. You don't necessarily have to fall in love, but you just love a person, because of that femininity, feminine beauty. And then when she's beautiful, it's like, holy fuck, that is so impacting, beautiful, right? And men weren't afraid to say, yeah, you make me feel beautiful, in their own way back then. There's a million ways to express yourself when you're hidden, right? There's one way to express yourself when you're realigned and with the truth again, in purity formed, which scares the piss out of people. But you know what? Your fear will disappear, man. All that negative emotional energy will disappear if you take the training and adhere to not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the logical sense, in the light of logic, of emotional truth for a human being. Because in today's world, we're programmed now to think that, first of all, sex is love, and it can't be and never can be. It's the trust connection, the bond connection you fall in love with. And then you love the physical part about the other person. And if you don't, and you have that trust bond, except for a couple guys, oh boy, I forgot my thing. My point is, sex. It has to go back to the old ways, because this is, you're not allowed to be a whore. You're not allowed to be sexually confused or confused in any way whatsoever, because that invites the darkness. It's the infection to God, the Father of truth, the purity form of it. He can't do darkness of his emotional self, which translates into spiritual, right? So it has to go back to that. And when people realign, they're going to see that there's this brand newness that they have to work with. There's no way to explain what that is. It's like you wake up and you go, what's missing? And it's your pain. But what else is missing? It's your fear that's missing. It's your anger. It's your unresolved everything gone. And it's not like people fucking celebrate or anything. Like there's no miracle. Just that you experience now the emotional moment without that filtering. It's gone. It's the only way to create joy in your life and peace and calm. Anyway, stop being a whore. I remember when I was a whore. I loved it while I was doing it. Afterwards, it was terrible. But that is connected to abuse issues that were left unresolved. And unworthiness issues that I brought with me all my life too. So that's very complicated stuff to work through. But I didn't have to. I tried for 20 years, 25 plus years. Then I found this information. It healed me in what felt like seconds. Later.